Hey, it's Brock here from Rock Hill Farms, and today kind of sucks. I've made a silly mistake and killed all my fish that I've put so much work into. So I'm going to take just a minute and show you my pond setup and what I had, and then I'll tell you the story. I have always wanted a koi pond with a waterfall, so a few months ago I decided to finally do something about it. So we leveled out a square, marked out the general shape, and dug a giant hole. Then we packed it and shaped it up exactly the way we wanted it. Then we used large pieces of sandstone to build the walls of the pond and cover all the liner.
Moment of truth.
Moment of truth. Oh, yeah! Woo!
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
What we have here is two small koi. These have fantastic coloration on them. This clip here is from right after I started adding fish. I might have had 10 goldfish and koi mixed in the pond at that time, and this would have been a couple months ago. They ended up growing out a lot bigger than this. This is a little bit more recent, but not a great clip, and doesn't show nearly all of the fish. I wish I had some better footage. So in terms of tragedies, there's a lot worse problems you could have. And I don't want to make this sound like some big dramatic thing, but I can tell you my heart really sunk when I came out here. So I've wanted one of these koi ponds for years. Never dreamed I could build one with a waterfall like this. I've been planning this since we bought the property 3 years ago. And then we got the kit and built this pond maybe 2 or 3 months ago. And it was a very labor-intensive project. A lot of energy and time went into this. Got it built out and I was really happy with it, but we needed a little bit of time for the grass to grow in, to stock it with fish, let the ecosystem kind of cycle through, grow the fish out, and I've been building up to a bigger video that encompassed the start all the way through the finished product. And I'm still going to probably put that video out next week, but I made a stupid mistake yesterday that could have been so easily prevented, and just an oversight. So every night I come out here and my relaxation is when the sun starts to set and the shadow from these trees behind me crosses the pond, it cools it off and the fish prefer that. So whenever that happens, around 6 o'clock, somewhere in that neighborhood, I come out here and sit right here, put my feet in the water, listen to the waterfall, and throw food in there for the fish, and they are trained to a time and a location that they come right here as soon as I walk out. And I really enjoy it. Maybe 20 minutes every day I will sit here and just watch those fish and look and see that orange and black one has been growing more than the orange and white one. And they're just, they kind of become pets. And so I'll feed them like that, and then maybe once a week I'll notice that the water level is a little low, and I turn the water hose on and let it run for 30 minutes to an hour to get it filled back up. And while I'm doing that, I always come out here and do some kind of a yard work or chores. Well, yesterday I was out here cutting the pipe up with the portable bandsaw, and I turned the water on. I said, I'm going to finish cutting up this pipe and then I'll shut the water off. Cut the pipe up, went in the house, and the next time I thought about it was 14 hours later, and I came out here the next morning, and I'm just walking down here to look at the pond and the pumpkins and everything, and I just turned my head over and I was like, oh, hey, I left the water on, and my first thought was I must have saturated the pumpkin patch, way overwatered it. And then I started walking over to shut it off, and my mind goes, wait a minute, I had that on the pond. And if it doesn't immediately jump out to you why that's a problem, this pond could fill up in about 4 hours, and I left it running for about 3 times that. And that means that it's been overflowing for 8 hours and pumping out all of the existing water. So the water that's pumping in is cold and chlorinated. And I knew it immediately. I went over and shut the water off, walked over here to the pond, and all of my fish were floating and dead. And I had 26 koi in here, and it's hard to find koi. If you go online and you click order koi, the first thing you'll pull up will be a website where you can pay $1,000 per koi for like an 8 to 12 inch long fish. And people pay a lot of money for koi. But if you search around locally, I was able to find these small koi, like 4 inches, that would be like $15. And then I also had some goldfish that would be between $6, and I actually had some fancy goldfish that were like $30. And I had 26 fish, probably averaging $15 a piece. And I'd spent all that time out here feeding them and growing them out, and lost them all because I forgot to turn the garden hose off. And what's frustrating is I knew that would be a problem for me. I knew I would have to fill the pond occasionally. I knew I would have trouble remembering because I used to overflood our pool when it needed water added. Maybe 1 out of 5 or 10 times I'd forget and leave it on and overflow the pool. I'm just kind of forgetful sometimes. So I bought a water hose timer, a manual timer that you hook your garden hose into it and then another garden hose out of it, and you turn the dial to an amount of time and it will shut itself off when that time passes. And those timers are like $10. And I bought it and I thought I'll never overfill my pond. But then I planted the pumpkin patch and I was watering the pumpkins almost every day. And I thought, I don't want to flood that either. So for some reason, instead of buying a second timer, I took that timer down to the pumpkins. And I've never oversaturated the pumpkin patch, but I would have been probably better served up here. And for $10 a timer, I should have just bought 2. So if you have anything that you water like this, you can spend a bunch of money on a timer. You can get electrical timers, you can get complicated inline garden hose timers, but for $10, you just turn this mechanical dial, it unwinds itself and then shuts the water off. So I'll put a link in the description to that timer. If you got anything that you water, it's worth it. So once again, I didn't mean to make this seem dramatic. It's just, it's a bummer. Kind of like losing a pet, but it is what it is. I've made a mistake, and now I got to decide, am I going to spend that money on fish again? I'll probably go a lot slower this time and just get a couple and get a timer. So now I want to show you the pumpkin patch. The pumpkins look great. I've got all these orange pumpkins, but the plants are dying off. And as the plants die off, I'm getting all these grass and weeds coming up through it. And it's such a vast area that I don't know how to clean it up, really. But I do know how. I could spend the entire day manually doing it, and I haven't. So let's go take a look at it. My concern with the pumpkins is it is middle of September, and we want to have these pumpkins for decorating in October. I've got 6 grandkids. We want to decorate pumpkins and give pumpkins to the local school or a church that wants to let their kids do that as an activity. And so I wanted these pumpkins to give away and do all this with. But I'm worried that if the plants die in the middle of September, I'm going to have rotten, stinky pumpkins by the time it's time to use them. And I was actually thinking we'd make some pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving. So let's go take a look at them. And if any of you guys know about pumpkins, you can tell me what I should be doing differently. So this has been an extremely hot and dry summer. And I'm watering these pumpkin plants on a timer. I think they're probably getting plenty of water. Now, out here, we've got these nice healthy vines that have these flowers on them. So it feels like the plants are still trying to produce. But when you go up to the center of the plants, all the leaves are dying off and exposing these big, beautiful pumpkins. And I'm not sure if that's normal. Is it normal that all the plant's energy goes into the pumpkin and the vines die off? Does that mean that when those die off, it's time to disconnect the pumpkin from the vine? It seems like I want to leave them connected to the vine as long as possible. And then after that, maybe I need to take them in somewhere cool so that they are preserved. I thought I could refrigerate them, but I've got a lot of pumpkins, at least 100 pumpkins out here. I can't refrigerate 100 of them. Okay, so from where I'm standing, got pumpkins, pumpkin, all of these, And then all of those are orange pumpkins, but out here at the perimeter, see, we've got an orange pumpkin right there. And out here at the perimeter, we've got these new green pumpkins. So like a lot of other things I do, I did a good job starting this off, and I didn't necessarily follow through on all the maintenance perfectly. I had kind of a bummer that I set it up where I could till between the rows, and there was a point in time where I really needed to till between all the plants as they were starting to spread before they took everything over, and my tractor broke down that week. And I tried to order a tiller. I got the tiller, but it was too late. I borrowed my dad's cultivator. I didn't have the tractor for a while, and I should have got out here with just a hand rake and got all those weeds out. So that let some more weeds get into it. But other than that, I've got a nice yield. I've been watering them. I just don't know what I need to do it now with the pumpkins. Done a couple Google searches, and I'll do some more. But if you guys know what I need to do with these pumpkins right now, I'd love to hear it. So anyway, another one of those talking videos. Hopefully tomorrow we'll get some work done. I'm gonna get to mowing my yard. I appreciate you taking time to watch this video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.